Hi, my name is Ujwal, and I've been a designer for a better part of the last decade. Currently, I'm heading the design team at Spinny. All right, so I think we're in the mountains, and this is the first time that I've taken UjwalXDesign in the outdoors. And since we are here, I thought, why not make a video? What we're doing today is answering some questions that UX designers may have. Be it a senior designer or somebody who's just starting out. This is a very relevant question because even I started 10 years ago. So over the last decade, I think we've moved across a lot of tools, a lot of practices as designers. I think when I started, there was not a lot of clarity around what UX actually is. It was more around UI design, and we were just designing screens. So from that point onwards to this point today, where design process is now way more sophisticated, and design is not just about execution anymore, but it's a lot to do with thinking. I think 80% of the time today, designers spend on thinking about what to do, then to actually spend that time on to just executing designs. So I think that has been a major shift in terms of what has changed over the last decade. And I think this same trend is going to go on even further as AI comes into the scene, as more tools and more advancement in execution comes into the scene. I think a lot more time will be now spent on iterating on ideas, iterating on directions, rather than just designing screens, because designing screens will become a lot easier. And needless to say, this is not going to change anything, drastically for designers. But we, as a community, should start now thinking about our work in a more macro sense, not just limited to the design of it, but on the business and on the overall strategy side of it. I think that's where the growth also is for all the designers out there. See, learning and development will always going to be a part of your journey, no matter if you're starting out as a designer or somebody who has been in the design scene for a while. So you have to take out that extra time apart from work. One thing you need to understand is that you chose this design career because you were passionate about it. The work that you do at your workplace is only the work that you already know. For your development, for you to learn new skills, you need to spend time on weekends, and you need to actually enjoy the process of learning. So that's one part. The other part is that there are so many new tools happening every day now. Every day you see so many new tools happening, so many new tools coming up. You need to make sure that you're choosing the right tools to explore. So give one tool half a day to understand if it's worth it or not, and then make that decision. Having said that, the tools that we're using at this point of time, Figma is going to stay for a while. So make sure that whatever new features Figma is releasing, you're completely up to date with that at least. One more important thing about learning a new skill is there will always be a first mover advantage. I started using Figma back in 2017 when it was still very, very new, at least in the Indian scene. And that advantage stayed with me for the next 3-4 years. So whenever a new feature came up, I was way more comfortable with the tool than some of my peers at the time. So make sure that you choose the right tool and you move forward in those tools. I think when I switched to Figma, I saw this real opportunity there, that it was the first time that I could collaborate with other designers in real time on my design file. Now that was something which was not available in any other tool at that time. So as I mentioned earlier, that you would see that in your current workflow, something that is actually putting you in advantage. If you start to see these signals in other tools, then you have made that identification that this is actually going to solve some real problem and people are actually going to move towards it. So you just have to look for these signals. There will be noise, there will be all kinds of tools in the market, and there will be so many people now creating these tools, because creating a tool has also become very, very easy nowadays. But having said that, if something actually enhances and improves your workflow by a significant margin, then you choose that and you move forward in that. And the other part to this is also, if you find something useful, make sure you introduce it to your team as well, because at this point of time, all design teams are trying to identify how they can make their workflow better. So if you identify something, take it back to your team and make sure your entire design team is following it. I love to order things and put things in order compulsively. And that is a habit that I've developed recently. So I've been a designer before I developed this habit. But now when I look at it, I think it has helped me a lot in my design, and especially in creating a lot of processes. So one of the things that I do in everyday life today, as a design manager or a design leader, is that I try to bring efficient processes into the system. And by keeping things in order around me, I think that is something that and being compulsive about it, which is not healthy. But yeah, I think that comes back to my practice as well as a designer, and I think it really helps me, create order in chaos. Another thing that has really helped me as a designer, which is a non-design skill completely, is being a musician for a very long period of time. Being a musician has helped me understand how to seek inspiration from a lot of variety of things. And I think when I listen to music also, I'm not very specified to a particular genre. I listen to Indian classical, I listen to rock, I listen to metal, I listen to all kinds of music. So when I'm doing my own stuff, when I'm creating my own music, all of those inspiration comes into life. And my musical identity is sort of a representation of all of that. Similar to how when I create a design, or when I ask somebody in my team also to create something, I make sure that they are doing a lot of extensive mood boarding. And those mood boardings may not be, an exact replica of the feature that you're trying to build, but that mood board needs to be extensive and it needs to be large, so that when you're actually coming down to the solution, you're inspired by so many different things out there. I think one of the common mistakes that I've seen people make early in their career, and I've seen that in real life as well, that designers or any professional actually would get stuck on something and they would hesitate to ask questions. Now, bringing it back in the context of a designer, I see a lot of young designers getting stuck on a very silly problem which they feel they shouldn't be asking somebody, and they should be trying to solve it on their own. So something which would have taken, let's say, a day to solve takes 3 days because they're stuck on it and they're not asking the right questions. So I encourage designers to go and ask questions. And I think asking questions is what makes you a great designer in the future, because once you start asking questions, once you remove hesitation, then your questions start improving and improving and improving, because you're continuously iterating on asking questions as well. So I think this is that one thing. Back when I started my career in UI UX design, that's what it was called back then, I really had trust issues. So I think I did not trust myself enough. I did not trust my skills enough. And at some point, I did not trust the overall design principle enough. So what I mean to say is that when I started, it was a very niche career. Not a lot of people were doing it. And even till today, because there's not a lot of rigid structure to your design process, and there is not tangible measurement of design success as well, a lot of people do not trust themselves enough, do not trust their skills enough. So that is one thing that I would have told my younger self as well, that whatever you're doing could probably be wrong, but you'll get there. You'll get to the right part as well. So start trusting yourself more, because the more I trusted myself over the course of time, my work quality got significantly better. So that is what I would have told myself. And that is what I keep telling people as well, that please keep believing in yourself. And in a day, and there will be so many days where you start to feel that you're not a good designer, and it's okay. Because you feel that you're not a good designer makes you a perfect candidate to push yourself to be that great designer, because it's never going to be that destination, it's always going to be the journey. Thanks a lot for this great session. I think it was a good idea to take this out and have this question and answer format. And I hope all of you also enjoyed this as much as I did. If you liked this video and if you felt there was some useful information here, do share it with your designers or non-designer friends. Like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a lovely, beautiful day.